Hello, hello, everyone. I am your host, April A. Ross, and this is the Yes to Life podcast, where we are showing you how to live in freedom every day by bringing forward amazing people with incredible stories of things that they've overcome so that you can figure out how to overcome those same barriers in your own life. And today I'm super excited to welcome Patricia Stepler. She is a high performance and mindset coach who utilizes an innovative system for leaders around the world who want to live by choice and not allow the world to dictate what they can accomplish. So, Patricia, welcome to the show. I am so happy to have you here.
Thank you, April. I'm glad to be here today.
Awesome. So, tell me about a time when you hit rock bottom and what it was that helped you decide to keep going.
All right. So it was about 20 years ago, and I was teaching school at the time, and I was asked to be on this committee that would possibly take our school to a charter school. And I played this game called the change game. And from that, I knew I was a change agent. So then I was asked to go to this training, which I was reluctant to do first because I used my three young children as an excuse to let other people do it instead of me. But then when I was asked again, I finally said, okay, I'll go, because I really did want to go. And so when I was there, I got really excited about the possibilities, the endless possibilities of what we could accomplish and what we could do for the children of the school. Well, about half the school, or well, maybe a third of the faculty was going to go to this conference in the summer. When it came time for it, there were about 8 of us that went, which was maybe a third of the third. And then after we came back, like nobody wanted to do anything. It made no sense. And so because I could see the vision and see where we could go, I started to more or less steamroll that change, which is never good. Never steamroll. And what I ended up doing by the end of that school year was having alienated pretty much all 60 or 70 people that were on the staff. And
Ouch.
because of that, they totally shunned me. I would say hello to them, and they would just walk by me like they never heard me, couldn't see me, nothing. It was awful. And I kept all that inside because I was embarrassed. I thought, how can this be happening here? All I want to do is make this school better for the kids. And yet, all the other staff members pretty much were like, stop, just stop. So summer break came and I was relieved. But then as August came around and it was time to think about going back, I literally could not get off the couch. Physically, I couldn't move. It was a struggle for me to get up, to walk. And I thought, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Because I thought, do I have some neurological thing going on here? And then I thought, maybe it's just all up in my head. And so I decided, okay, before I call the doctor, I'm going to call my principal. And my principal was really engaged in this change. He really wanted it to happen, but he didn't feel like he could be the one. So I went down and we had a conversation. I actually asked him to help me get a transfer to a different school. And I explained to him how I was feeling and what things were happening at the end of the year. And he shared with me that some of those same things were happening to him. And at the end of that conversation, he said, I'll do whatever you want. If you want me to help you get a transfer, I'll do that. But he says, I really need you to stay, because if you go, nothing's going to happen. Nobody else is going to pick this up and help the kids. So that, got me right in my heart. And because I was doing it for the kids, right?
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, I believe in another year, you'll be the facilitator for the school improvement team. And I just started to laugh because I said, these people hate me. That's an elected position by, your peers. And I said, these people hate me. They'll never vote me for that. And he said, no, he says, all you have to do is to change what you're doing and change the way you interact with people.
Mm,
So I took that to heart. I told him I would stay, I would stick it out. And I started to delve into how to deal with people. And
mm,
that's when I discovered disc personalities. And I realized my personality and why it was impacting so much of our staff in a horrible way,
mm,
because they were different personalities. And it really helped me to understand that and to realize that I had to reach out to others. And I couldn't just, kind of stay in my own little world and try to create this change. That would never work.
yeah.
And so I started to, interact with these people differently. And one by one, I started to get them to see the vision I saw and to see how not what they could do for me, but what I could do for them
Mm,
and how they could have a part in this change and what would they be willing to help do. Now, it still didn't come without some people stabbing me in the back and, other things happening, but I dealt with it.
mhm.
And I think at the end, if I had to go through that situation again, knowing what I know now, and, having to go through that or a similar situation, I would do it in a heartbeat because of the growth it brought in me and the
Mm,
things I learned about me and dealing with other people.
yeah. Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's interesting. It makes me think of one of my favorite quotes by Tony Robbins, like, what if the worst day of your life was the best day of your life?
Mhm.
Because it is. And like,
Right.
my own take on the reason that is, obviously that's when you are forced to confront what's not working. But when you confront what's not working, that's when you can change it. And it's so incredible because there are so many people who do feel like, everyone hates me. There's no way to get what I want. And you were able to transform that situation in in a way that is so powerful within, an entire school system, not just within, a tiny little group, but to make
Mhm.
absolutely massive change. I'm just really in awe of that. What advice do you have for someone listening right now who's feeling like, everybody hates me, I can't create this change that I want, no one's listening?
Mhm.
What advice do you have for that person?
First of all, I'd find somebody you can talk to and really explain it to them because we don't see in ourselves what other people see in us.
Yeah.
And I believe that was one of the things, and he wasn't the first principal I worked for that pulled something out of me I didn't know was there, but he saw something in me that he needed to make
Mm,
that change happen and that he knew I could do. I just didn't know I could do it. So I think that's really important to have somebody to talk to. And if you can't find somebody, find an encouraging or inspiring book to read, that build your confidence, because that's what it all comes down to. When we are feeling so low and we feel like everything's against us, a lot of it is who we are. And when we can change who we are, we can see the world differently. And it's really sad when I think about how horrible I felt for days and days, and it was the emotional toil. I just couldn't put myself through what I had gone through at the end of that previous school year. I emotionally could not do that. And I think we get to that rock bottom that we just feel like we can't go on. And I think if we just find somebody to talk to, find something encouraging to read. And I remember, in some of the most difficult times over that next year and developing that change, there was a quote that went through my mind, and I wish I knew where I read this, but it was people of integrity expect to be believed. And when they're not, they let time prove them right. And I held on to that with dear life because I knew I was a person of integrity and I knew that time would absolutely show that, what we were trying to do was right. It was right for kids. It was right for parents. It was right for staff. And, it's sometimes we just have to hold on to anything,
mm,
even as just one phrase that you can just hold on to help you go through the next day.
yeah.
It's just really important not to give up, to, fight through it because you're worth fighting for.
Mm. Oh, that was a beautiful quote. Fight through it because you're worth fighting for.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I love what you said earlier too about other people see and pull out in us what we can't see in ourselves. And that's one of the things, somebody asked me, what do I really do as a coach? And I'm like, well, I hold the belief that someone can do something and keep it in front of them until they
Mhm.
truly believe in it themselves. And
Right.
yeah, that's oh, I'm getting goosebumps. It's beautiful. And so the last question I have for you is what resources do you have? And so for someone who really, really resonates with your message and is like, oh my God, Patty, you're the one I want to reach out to. How do they get in touch with you?
Well, you can reach out to me on Facebook or LinkedIn. My email address, I think it'll be in the show notes, right?
Yes, correct.
By phone, but schedule an appointment with me. I think I put a link in there to schedule an appointment, and
Hmm.
let's just chat for 20 minutes to see if there's something I feel that I can do to help you, and see if there's something that makes sense for us to work together. But I love helping people to uncover the potential that they have, and to
Hmm.
realize their self-worth, because in today's world it's just so negative, and it's so easy for people to feel bullied,
Mm.
or to feel like they just don't have anything to offer, and that's so untrue. We all have so much to offer to the world if we just see who we are and why we're here.
Yeah,
Discover why you're even here on earth.
yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely where my heart is at. I completely agree. So, yeah, any final comments before we wrap up this episode?
Oh, I just want people to just reach for the person they want to be,
Yes.
because you can become that person. And sometimes it takes a lot of work. I mean, it took me a good year to shift things around in that school, and I worked hard on it. And it's not going to happen overnight, but you can become that person. And when you're having a really bad day, realize that maybe that's just a wake-up call for you, like it was for me. It was a wake-up call for me that I needed to change. And
Yeah.
sometimes we do need to change.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Patty. So, for anybody who's watching, if you want to catch more of this Yes to Life podcast, you can find it on YouTube. You can also go to Yes to Life USA.org. And I'm April A. Ross. You will also find my information down in the show notes. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and have an amazing day. No matter where you are seen, you are heard, and you are loved for exactly who you are.